Today we're going to go over the Brothers P-Touch editor. We're going to go over tables, how to print in layers with precision measurements. The Brothers P-Touch labeler, it's a great investment. It keeps you organized in many ways, and I'll show you some of the ways. It can also be used to put labels on audio equipment, video equipment for better visual. As an example, we'll be using the FLX-10 DDJ controller for Serato to explain how we can label things with the stem cells buttons. All right, the first thing we got to do is measure the DDJ pads that we want to label, and it's 5 inches, and that's the measurement we're going to be utilizing in the editor. All right, when we open the Brothers P-Touch editor, we have this screen where we can select the presets that's available, or we can select new. To make sure that the media is the correct label, because they have so many size labels. Let's say, for example, it's on 0.95 inch. You press click, and now it's 0.35 inch. The length or the measurement can be set to millimeter, and you'll notice how this also changes, and your ruler changes as well. Using millimeter metrics is a much better way of working because it's accurate. But we're going to be using inches for the sake of this video because we already started with the inches. So we go back to inches, and we're going to set the length. In setting the length, we have to consider the border. The border is equivalent to 0.1 inches. So if we want to set something to 5, we're going to have to add these on both sides, which is 2.2 inches. So we're going to say 5.2 inches. Now we have the correct length, and it will print exactly 5. Now we're going to show you how to make a table. You click into the table, and as you select, this populate. We can insert and delete columns, tables, and even merge. So we're going to insert columns. Now we have 4 columns, and if we want to delete the other lines, we can click and say delete row. So now we have this much rows. Now that we have the rows, we can insert text into each cell. So in this situation, we're going to be using the stems from the DDJ FLX-10. So the first one will be vocals. We'll just use capital letters, and you press the tab over. And the second one would be melody. And the third is going to be bass and drums. Now that we have this set up on the table, each section, you click once and you click a second time, each one of these are considered a cell. So if you notice, we click the whole bar, the whole table, it only has tables and layouts. If we click and click a second time, a second or middle section comes up called cell. You click and hold shift and click, and now you selected 4 cells. Within the cells, we can now align middle, center to the right, or spread it completely across. It depends on what you want. I tend to have everything centered, depending on what I'm doing. I can also hit bold. So instead of having to edit one at a time, you can do multiple. If you want the text to be bigger, because at this point, we cannot increase the text anymore. A little trick that I've learned is you can select and you can drag down, and you can drag all the way up until the text is almost as big as the cell. Now, while we're in the table, we can go to the bottom where it says lines, and we can increase the size of the line itself, the weight of the line. We can go up to 6 points, or we can go back down to 0.25. And if we choose, we can change the style of the line. So let me increase it so it's easy to see on screen. We can put the dotted lines, and or what we can do is take off the lines altogether. So now when this prints, this imaginary line, you don't see it anymore. All right, so at this point, if we want to add layers like Photoshop, where we can put text underneath each one of these, we can simply take the entire table, Command C, Command V, paste and copy. And now what we can do, we can add, this is for the DDJ FLX-10, we can now add the word echo, and we can just select Command C, paste, and I believe the last one is also an echo, and this one was break. So we can select the cells, you click, and then you click a second time, and then you hold the shift key and you're able to select multiple cells. But in the multiple cells, you now can reduce your text. So you can now play with the different text. If you select the layouts, you can name this layout the echo. And you can name this layer the vocals, which is what's named already. And by hitting your tab key, you're able to go between the two. So if you need to edit this one or this one, as you know, when you're hitting the tab keys, doing that. We have the vocal cells table selected. We can move it up a little bit, and we can now move up into the echo under it. We can select the cell, and we can reduce the text so it lines up pretty good. We can select the echo cell and eliminate the style line. So we take off that. So now we only have one line available to us, and it looks a little neater with the one line than the two. And we can always increase the weight if we choose of the line. Select the cell, and we can reduce the text as well. We can increase the text or reduce it, and use the arrow key to move up. Oops. Tab. And now we can adjust this. And that's it. We can now print the label and put it on the DDJ controller. Take the label off at the bottom, which is the best place to put it because there's no writing there. And voila, we have a beautiful label. And I'm getting ready to put labels on here, but there's none at the moment.